Imagine an island smaller than the state of Maryland, sitting just 80 miles off the coast of mainland China. To a casual observer, it looks like a tropical paradise. But to the world's superpowers, this is the most dangerous flashpoint on the planet. This is Taiwan. Right now, the eyes of the global military elite are fixed on this single stretch of land. Why? Because Taiwan isn't just an island. It's a geopolitical linchpin. It is the center of a tug-of-war that could determine the fate of the 21st century. If you control Taiwan, you don't just control a territory. You control the global economy, the future of artificial intelligence, and the very flow of the Pacific Ocean. We are standing on the edge of a conflict so massive that it would make the war in Ukraine look like a minor skirmish. Some experts suggest that if the situation in the strait escalates, we aren't just looking at a regional conflict, we're looking at the opening shots of a global catastrophe. But what is the secret hidden within this population of 23 million people that makes the United States and China willing to risk everything? To understand why we might be on the brink of a historic shift, we have to look past the headlines and dive into the two chilling facts that most people completely overlook. A century of complex history. To understand the present, we have to look at the scars of the past. For centuries, Taiwan was ruled by the Qing dynasty in Beijing. But in 1895, following a crushing defeat in the Sino-Japanese War, China was forced to cede the island to Japan. For the next 50 years, Taiwan was a Japanese colony. It wasn't until the end of World War II, when Imperial Japan collapsed, that the island was returned to the Republic of China. But the homecoming didn't last. Back on the mainland, a brutal civil war was tearing the country apart. On one side, you had Mao Zedong's communists, on the other, Chiang Kai-shek's nationalists. By 1949, the communists had won, establishing the People's Republic of China. The defeated nationalist government retreated across the strait to Taiwan, relocating the seat of the Republic of China to Taipei. Strictly speaking, that civil war never officially ended with a peace treaty. It just froze in time. Fast forward to today, and Taiwan has evolved into a high-tech democratic powerhouse with a unique identity. They have their own constitution, their own elected leaders, and their own military. On the flip side, Beijing views Taiwan as a renegade province, a piece of the motherland that must be returned. President Xi Jinping has made it crystal clear, reunification is a historic mission that cannot be passed down from generation to generation. He has explicitly stated that China will use force if necessary to achieve this goal. This creates a massive diplomatic headache. Despite being a functional, self-governed entity for over 70 years, Taiwan isn't a member of the United Nations. In fact, only about a dozen nations officially recognize it. Why? Because China is the world's second-largest economy. Beijing refuses to have diplomatic ties with any country that recognizes Taiwan's independence. Even the United States, in a display of strategic ambiguity, publicly adheres to a one-China policy while simultaneously acting as Taiwan's unofficial guardian and security partner. The island chain trap. You might wonder, why would the US care so much? Why risk a global confrontation over a small island thousands of miles away? The answer lies in geography. China has a massive coastline, the 10th longest in the world, touching the Pacific. This is where their heart beats. Megacities like Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong sit right on the water, serving as the gateways for China's global exports. But there's a catch. If you look at a map, China is essentially fenced in. A string of islands, Japan, the Ryukyu Islands, Taiwan, and the Philippines, forms a natural barrier. In military circles, this is known as the first island chain. The problem for Beijing is that almost every one of these islands is either a U.S. ally or hosts a U.S. military presence. This was no accident. In the 1950s, the U.S. intentionally designed this containment strategy to ensure they maintained dominance in the Eastern Pacific. Today, it means that almost every Chinese ship heading to the open ocean has to pass through choke points controlled by the West. If a conflict breaks out, the U.S. Navy could effectively plug these holes, strangling the Chinese economy by cutting off its trade routes. Taiwan is the cork in that bottle. If China takes Taiwan, they break the fence. They gain direct, unhindered access to the deep waters of the Pacific. They would move from being a caged regional power to a true global blue water navy, capable of threatening Hawaii or the U.S. West Coast. For America, losing the status quo in Taiwan means losing influence over the Pacific. The Silicon Shield, the world's most valuable asset. As vital as geography is, there is a second reason that is arguably even more important. It's something you're likely holding in your hand right now. Taiwan is the undisputed king of semiconductor chips. These aren't just components for your laptop or smartphone. They are the brains of the modern world. Every piece of advanced technology, from the F-35 fighter jet and hypersonic missiles to the servers running the world's most sophisticated AI, runs on chips made in Taiwan. A single company, TSMC Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, produces about 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Giants like Apple, Nvidia, Intel, and AMD all rely on TSMC. They have outsourced their most critical production to this one island because no one else on Earth can match their precision. This is what experts call the Silicon Shield. If a conflict breaks out and these factories are damaged or captured, the global economy doesn't just slow down, it stops. Imagine a world where you can't buy a car, a phone, or even a medical device because the supply chain has vanished overnight. For the US, a Chinese takeover of TSMC is a nightmare scenario. It would give Beijing a kill switch over Western technology. Suddenly, the country that controls the chips controls the future of warfare, artificial intelligence, and global industry. However, the irony is that China is also vulnerable. China consumes 60% of the world's semiconductors. If a war destroys those factories, China's own industrial machine grinds to a halt. It's a policy of mutually assured economic destruction. The countdown to 2030. So, will China actually pull the trigger? Intelligence analysts are worried because the window of opportunity is closing. Right now, the West is frantically trying to build chip factories on its own soil to reduce dependence on Taiwan. But these plants take years to build. Experts suggest that if China wants to leverage its advantage, it has to act before 2030, the point where the US and Europe might have enough domestic chip production to stop caring as much about Taiwan's safety. Some American think tanks believe the danger zone is right now, the mid-2020s. We've already seen the tension boiling over. Whenever a high-ranking US official visits Taipei, China responds with massive live-fire military drills, surrounding the island with warships and fighter jets. They are practicing for the real thing. For China, failing to take Taiwan would be a massive national blow, a signal that they aren't ready to be the world's next superpower. But for the US, allowing the status quo to fall would signal the end of American leadership in Asia. It would tell every ally, Japan, South Korea, Australia, that the US can no longer guarantee their security. The global fallout. If the unthinkable happens and the Cold War for Taiwan turns hot, the consequences will be felt in every household on the planet. This isn't just about a territorial dispute, it's about who writes the rules for the next century. A conflict in the Taiwan Strait would likely trigger a global depression. It would force nations to choose sides, potentially splitting the world into two massive warring trade blocs. And if the US military intervenes, as many leaders have signaled, we are looking at a direct kinetic conflict between two nuclear-armed superpowers. The situation is incredibly complex, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We are watching a game of geopolitical chess, where one wrong move could end in a stalemate that ruins us all. Taiwan may be a small island, but it is currently the center of the universe. Its fate will determine whether the 21st century is defined by the current international order or a new era of global dominance. What do you think? Does the Silicon Shield actually prevent conflict, or does it make the island a more valuable target? This is a massive conversation, and I want to hear your perspective in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more deep dives into the world's most critical power struggles coming your way. Thanks for watching, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.